Hello and good evening. Let's just hope that we are live. I can't actually see anything yet. There we go. There we go. Oops. There we go. There we go. Right, we don't want to hear that. But good evening, everybody. Hopefully, I have the camera the other way around, and rather than having to change it, I've left it as it is. So you can't see me apart from my arms, but you will be able to see, hopefully. Let's just see if we can see that. There we are. Yeah, that's a bit better. So that you can see the needle. Hello, Liz. Hello, Bev. Hello, Linda. Hello, Catherine. Hello, Maria. Hello, Carol. Hello, Virginia. I've been working so hard that I've forgotten to do the basic things of getting the menu out for this week. Hello Amanda, hello Sue, hello Alison and Anne. I have been working non-stop. So unfortunately things get a little bit delayed. Hello Josie, hello Jill and John, hello Yvonne and Jen. And yes, Princess Sonia. It will come to me. Hello Helen, hello Elizabeth. Hello Christine, hello Shirley. Now the other thing I haven't put up, all of the sew-along kits have gone out today. Hello Shirley, hello Joanna, hello Elaine. So it should be all systems go. They should be there in 2 days. Hello Kathleen, hello Janet, hello Joanna. Oh, your parcel arrived today. That will be your end of vault sale one, hopefully. Lovely, that's good. Hello Jane, and the postman brought you a lovely parcel, fantastic. Hello Sue, hello Gita. This tracked 48 seems to get to you a lot quicker than just second class small parcel. Hello Gita, hello Carol. I think I probably said hello Gita, but hello again. Yes, so I've only although I got a pouch made, I needed to refresh my mind. Hello Heather, because I hadn't made it for a little while. So hello Heather, hello, Yvonne's parcel arrived, fantastic. Hello Jan, good evening to you. Yes, so hello Paula, I have popped the PDF for tonight's in the group for you to download. Hello Dorothy, Phyllis, of course Phyllis. Couldn't come to me. I was thinking Francis. I was thinking all sorts. Hello, Phyllis. Again. Hello, Patsy. Hello, Judith. I know. I've got it facing that way so that I don't have to take the iPad off the stand. And there's Sharon. Hello, Sharon. Yes, I am sending to Northern Ireland, Sharon. I did say last week a couple of times. So yeah, all systems go if you wanted anything. Hello, Jill. Hello, Juliet. I haven't replied to your email, have I? Or probably. Hello, Marilyn. Yes, so the PDF is in the files. I'm also going to show you some fabric. I'll bring it around here because I have put some kits on. Now, the kits, of course. Yes, I am really impressed too, Joanna. Let's see when today's ones, they are on their way because I got them there early. Hello, Marion. Juliet saying hi to Phyllis. And so I have put some kits on the website with a discount, of course, for you as members. The code, I better not say, the code, I haven't written it in there yet, am I either? No. And I can't say it here because at some point, evening Marilyn and Carolyn. Oh, well done, Gita. That's made your day, Sharon. Jolly good. This video will go onto YouTube, and I don't want everybody to get the code to be able to do it. It's only you, my lovely loyal supporters. Hello, Janet. Hello, Vanessa. So, there are 6 options. There is watercolour, the original. So this one is the original one, which people did ask for. And the kits will come along with, let's move it over there, a label. They will be a leather label with handmade on. Evening, Susan. But you'll get the whole kit plus printed instructions for it. So you'll have it to keep forever. That's the watercolour. That one is Splash. And this is what we're going to make tonight. I've made that one, sorry. The one I will make out, yes, should be with you, Judith. This is the one we're going to make tonight, and I've called that Retro Flowers. Okay, so that is a 3rd option. I've put the kit on for, it will be £11 to you. Hello, Patricia. What's on the left side? It's like a giant plug. Oh, that's what I've got my phone on, so that I can see the words, because obviously I can't see anything here. It's just here, this stand here. I suppose I could have used that, but I can't get the iPad on there. It'd have to be on the phone. So yes, I'm making this one tonight. It will be £11 to you with the code, and free postage as well. How about that? Yes, I love the retro flowers. Then I've got a new fabric, which I've had for at least a month, and I haven't shown you. Hello, Janet. I need to talk to you about your order, Janet, because I haven't posted yours yet. I am so sorry. But having had a shift around at the weekend for Easter Sunday roast for 18 of us, I've moved everything around and I can't find your bits of fabric that I have put together. So this one is Tea Time, which is rather nice. Then this one I've just called Floral. It's a little bit like a country diary. Do you remember that? But very subtle pastel flowers. I think absolutely beautiful. And then the 6th option is strawberries. Who doesn't love a strawberry? And so for £11 for the kit, including postage, you will get a whole strip, a 6-inch wide strip of fabric, a 6-inch wide strip of fusible fleece, a 6-inch wide strip of lining fabric, 2 zips, and a handmade label. Hello, Sandra. And as I say, free postage. Now, if you cut really, really nicely, hello, Patricia. If you cut really nicely, you will be able to get, from the outer fabric, you will be able to get 2 pouches. The lining fabric, you won't quite be able to get 2, and the fusible fleece, you won't quite be able to get 2. But if you've got a little bit to add to, it won't be very much. Obviously, zips you'll need to add to as well, because you get 2 zips as well as the 3 bits of, so 1 outer fabric, 1 lining fabric, 1 fusible fleece, and the handmade label. So I really like to treat you, and I like you to have the fabric so that I can get some more in. I keep telling you, I have got more on the way, and I just think, oh my goodness. But no, it's lovely. So those are your options. And what you have is a zipped front with pocket, a zipped top and open, and nice zip tabs at the top, so it's nice and neat, and it really is, it will easily hold a mobile phone, even the bigger sized ones, and whatever, keys, cards in the front, cash. There is a code, Patricia. I am going to put, I've got ample of everything, so it won't run out. I will put it, I was only just doing it within the last half an hour, but I can't say the code now. It's only for you. But I will put it in the group as soon as we are done. How about that? And so there's the original that I did. Okay, which is the watercolour option. Right, so I shan't be saying any measurements because all of the measurements are in the PDF. Okay, so what you're going to need is a small piece of fabric, which is going to be the centrepiece there. You're going to have, there's 2 little zip tabs, 2 zips. You've got 2 pieces which go at the side. Oh, I knew I hadn't done one. So I need a 3rd piece to go at the top. Oh, so the PDF is not right. And that's for your back piece. And I've already fused the fusible fleece onto there. So what I'm going to do very, very quickly is switch my iron on. And I can still keep talking. And we will cut a little bit more fabric. So let's just have a look. I've left the fabric just here, haven't I? No, I've left the fabric. It's in this pile here. So you do need 3 pieces. So if you downloaded the PDF, there is an errata. But usually I get this over to our lovely friend, let's get a little bit there, our lovely friend Jill, and she proofreads it for me. But as I'd only finished about 4:30, I thought to myself, I really cannot send her something at 4:30 on the afternoon of doing this for her to proofread. So I have something wrong within it, but I've fixed that now, and we have that ready to go. So you'll need the 3rd piece for the top, and then, as I said, there's a piece, we are going to shape it. So at the moment it's just 1 piece like that to shape once we have done the first part. So shall we start? I don't know whether I've got this. Let's just move that. I'm going to see if that's a little bit better. There. Okay. Right, so let us begin. I've got all my little bits and pieces ready. So we start by taking our centrepiece, which has a zip on there. Now we want the centrepiece, and we don't have a lining piece that size, but we do have that piece. We need a lining for the pocket, which is what we're going to use. So we will take our zip, and we're going to place our zip zipper pull down onto our main front piece. Now I am going to put a pin there just to hold that, and we are going to put the lining on the other side. So for this, it just makes it a little bit different, because usually we sandwich this between, don't we? We put the lining on the top, but we're putting the lining behind on this occasion, and we're going to line that up with the edge of the fabric there, which I have done. So I'm going to take that pin back out and replace it, and then that lines up, so your piece of lining is longer than this piece we're starting off with. So I'm now going to hold that. You can put more pins in there if you'd like to. I'm now going to line that up and pop it under the needle, and we'll start sewing. Whoops, what is not going there? Oh, there we go. So I've got that all lined up at that edge, and I don't know what was under there. I'll have a look in a minute, and we will just stitch along the top. Okay, let's have a look now. I don't know. And then we are going to turn that back like so, because I'm going to, and I'm turning that zip so it's laying flat, turn that down and top stitch along that side of the zip. So let's just go, we'll do a standard length stitch of 2.5, and I'm making sure I'm pulling this away from the zip, and we'll just stitch along that edge. Okay, so it looks a little bit strange. We have our outer fabric here, and we've got this long piece. This is going to be the pocket though. So with that, we're going to take it back, and we're going to fold it up to the back of the zip. Can you see there? So I've got the outer fabric here, and then I've looped that piece, and I'm going to line, that doesn't line up at the minute. So let's move that lining along like so, and then that all lines up with that edge. Now we can put a pin in here as well to hold that together. Somebody's doing the gardening, aren't they? And also I'm going to put one at the other end just for the time being, like so. And you can see I've got that loop. That is my pocket. So let's pop that down, and then we can take one of our pieces to go along the top. So this piece is going to go right side down onto the outer fabric and line up with the zip. So that all lines up here and lines up there. So let's just take that down to our zip and start stitching. So I've got my lining fabric pinned, so I know that is all level, and I'm just making this level just here. Okay, so we've got lining behind, which is, oh, hello Jennifer, hello Nikki. I missed some there, haven't I? Okay, so then we're going to lift that piece up, fold that back, and again I'm going to top stitch along that edge there. Okay, so we've got no lining behind there, so we're just going to top stitch there. Now at this point we do need to make sure, let's just get that out of the way, we need to make sure this zip pull is down here. I'm just turning it upside down, doesn't matter which way. So I'm going to move the zip along there, and then I'm just going to stitch carefully across the zip coil just to hold that together. So very carefully, because I have been known to break a needle on the zip coil. Okay, so I've left that in the middle, and I'll leave these on at the moment, but I will cut them off afterwards. And now I'm going to take my other two pieces here, and I'm going to add them to the side. I think that's going to be better there. So I'm going to pop that down there, line that up at that edge, and we will start stitching here. So just line that up, 1/4 inch seam allowance, 2.5 stitch length. Okay, oh, now I've forgotten something, haven't I? But no matter, we do need to put lining on here. So we can do it like this. So this is, I'll show you just another way then. Usually I put my lining underneath, but I forgot. So let's just leave that like so. Flip it around, and we will put the other side, the other strip, on this side here. So 1/4 inch. And let's switch down there. So, okay, we're having 2 rows of stitching, but now I can turn that over, and then I can put my lining piece on this side. Okay, lining on there, line that up, and then we can switch down there again. If you're using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, it's going to make no difference. but you've just got 2 rows of stitching. So we've got one there and then one here. So just line that up with that side and off we go. I always say to you, don't think that I never make a mistake. Earlier, I fused my fusible fleece to the ironing board. How many of you have done that? Okay, so at this point, making sure your zip is showing. Let's have a look at the minute. We have actually got a pocket, which is really good. So I can now trim away this excess zip. So one off that end and one off that end. We don't need those pieces. So all we're going to do now is open that side panel and pull the lining fabric up from the other edge and just pull that out to make sure your lining and the outer fabric matches, because I'm now going to top stitch along this seam here. So just line that up and off we go. This top stitching along the seams or the edge of the seams, it really does set it off, it really does. Okay, and not difficult. So again, pull your lining from underneath, push your outer fabric back, just make sure that this edge lines up with our lining, and it does, and then top stitch. So I am using the same length stitch. You could do longer, you could do a decorative stitch, you could do the triple stitch. Okay, so how neat is that? How neat is that? And we have our pocket in there. Okay, next step is, let's just get my mat. Oh, hello Beverly. Right, so now I want to round these bottom corners. So I just happened to find these templates here, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to line that up on there, and rather than get the rotary cutter out, I'm just going to mark that, make sure it's at the bottom edge, and I'm just lining that up there, and I'm going to cut this with scissors. So I've marked it. Don't know why I've got my cutting mat there, but right, so having done that, I am just going to trim that around. Now, if you don't want to have a rounded bottom, now do we want a rounded bottom? You don't have to. Okay, so that just makes it, I just think it makes it a little bit nicer, having that rounded bottom there. So, because this is still flapping, belts and braces, you know me, I'm going to stitch within the seam allowance around this edge. So I'll increase my stitch length and just basically do a tacking just around this edge here. Don't need to go along the bottom, but just to hold those edges together, because the last thing we want is part of it to be stitched in the seam and half of it not. Okay, so now I've got that nicely stitched all around those edges. Okay, good so far. So we've got that. Got a little bit of fabric there. Sometimes it slips. So there is the front. Now the next thing, we need to prepare our zip, which is going to be popped in here. So I have my little zip pieces, and what you're going to do is we're going to pop back 1/4 of an inch, like so. Really could do with the iron for this, couldn't I? Okay, well the iron is, there we go. As I say, because I move things, I don't even know where my pressing mat is. I've got to get everything back in here. So 1/4 of an inch back to the wrong side, and then fold in half, like so, and press. So I've done that with my finger, you can see there, and I'm just going to nip over to the iron and press that properly so that it fits so much better. So bear with me just one moment, because this will make all the difference. There we go. So all I'm doing is pushing back 1/4 inch to the wrong side, and then I'm going to fold that in half so that those 1/4 inches line up, and then I'm going to use them to make our tabs. Now I've done it in this particular way because, there it is, much better once pressed. So there we are. I've done it in this way because we need this to be neat. There's other ways of making tabs, but it depends whether this edge is going to be seen or whether it's going to be out in the open. And this is going to be seen, so we want it to have a folded edge. So let's get my second zip. And what I'm going to do with my zip, first of all, is I'm just going to undo. I'm going to start with the zipped end. And what I'm going to do first of all, I don't want these metal bits to be in, so I am going to, bring that down there, I'm just going to stitch across here, just so that we hold the zip together. Whoops. Whoops, I don't think that's it, we're stitching now. Just go backwards and forwards, so that when I cut that little bit off, it's still held together. Okay, so let's cut those away, and we want that to be straight. Okay, so my zip is held together, and then I'm going to take one of these pieces, let's have a look, I like that side, and I'm going to place this into my tab, like that, bring that down, and I've got a little bit of excess fabric on each side, and then I'm going to top stitch across these folded edges, and that's why we want to press that so that they are on top of each other, and that way we're going to be stitching through both sides. There we go. So let's just have a look there, and that's stitched through both sides. Okay, so we now want this zip to be 8 inches long. I know I said I wasn't going to say any measurements, but we want this to be 8 inches long. So let me get my ruler here, and that is including the tab here. So if we go 8 inches there, and then we can trim off that excess there. Okay. Oh. Right, don't pull it open, but we want because we're going to put a tab on this end, and you can see there, that's 8 inches all the way to that side. So now we're going to take our other tab, and we're going to pop this in. I'm popping it in the whole way so that the cut edge is in the fold. There we are, and flatten that straight over, and then I'm going to do exactly the same again, just stitch across this end like so, just quite close to the folds, and then we can, no, you won't be able to see down there, but that is just 8 inches from end to end. So okay, Jan, no problem. I'm just going to trim these off so that they are, see how much neater that looks, so that they're nicely aligned with our zip, and then it's much easier to line up. There we are. So nice and neat. And then I'm going to take, now I'll tell you what I'm going to do first of all, before I do that. I'm going to take my front piece here, and along with there. My piece that at the moment is rectangular, and I am going to use that as my template. Okay, so I'm going to place that on there. Oh, that fits quite nicely actually. So that's around there, and then I'm going to trim, because I want these both to be the same. So let's trim that around there, and we will trim this around here so that I have got two pieces exactly the same. So I'm using what I have made for my front as my template. And then with the two lining pieces I have, I am going to use the template on these as well. So let's just line that up. That's not really lined up there. Just line these up along here, along the bottom. And then I will put my piece on here, as my template. And yeah, that lines up at the top. And I'm just going to trim around here so that my lining and my back piece are the same shape as the front. There we go. So I've now got two lining pieces which are the same size as the rest. Now the next thing to do from here, it is just the same as when we make just a straightforward pouch. So I'll take the front piece first of all, and I'm going to take my zip and I'm going to place that right side down, so zipper pull down and center it. Now what we should have, I'm going to put a pin or two in here. What we should have at this edge, about 1/2 inch spare. Okay, and this one as well. So there we are. Oh yes, it is, isn't it? That was a happy accident, Juliet. I wasn't even looking. Yeah, the fabric is lovely, isn't it? So I've centered that, and then I'm going to take one of my lining pieces here, and I'm going to place that right sides together along the top, lining up those raw edges. I'm just going to pull the pin out and pop it back in. On the other end, I'm not going to pin it down because I like to have a look at what's going on under there. So I'm making sure that my zip lines up with that top edge, and I'm just going to stitch across here. So this is securing the other zip. So this is our second zip here. So I can lift that up and just move my zip to that top edge. I use my finger to just hold that down. Now sometimes the fabric moves. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to shift the zipper pull out of the way. So I'm lifting up my presser foot. I've got the knee lift on there, and then I'm just going to pull the zip past there so we're nice and flat now. And then we'll just carry on stitching like so, and all the way across to the other side. Now I can see that lining has stretched a little bit, but we'll trim that in a moment. So having done that, I'm now going to open it out. I'll pull the zip already, and then I'm going to flip the lining underneath because I want to top stitch along the side of this zip. So let's just, actually I'll move it around this way so that I can pull. So you can either press it here, or what I'm going to do, I'm just pulling that lining fabric away from the zip edge. Okay, so I'm just pulling that down, and you can see I'm pulling that just there. So just pull that down so that all your edges line up. And I am only going to start stitching from here. So where the end of my zip tab, I'm only going to start top stitching from there because of how we stitch the rest together. So just the same as we did before, and I'm just pulling that fabric away so that's it. So I've got no pleats at the back. I'll show you in a moment. And that's it. I can get my hand under there, pull that down so that all lines up, and then all the way across there, and just to the end of the zip tab. So that then looks nice and neat and not bad. Gone a little bit out there, but not bad on the top. So there's our one side. We've got the lining and the outer. So now we need to do the other side. So this is where we take our back piece and we're going to place that right sides together on here also. So what I can do, let's just flip that down like that. And then you can see we want these edges to line up. Now I can see that fabric, that lining shifted a bit there. So we'll just trim that off. But what we're looking for is that 1/2 inch at each side. And I'm going to have a pin in there just to hold it. So pin just there. Pin down this side as well. So that our the other side of the zip is lining up with the outer fabric, and then on the underneath, which I turn, so this is the right side with the zip, and then on the other side we want the lining to go. So again we are going to line the lining with our outer. I'm just going to take that pin out again and reposition it. I am going to start from this edge, but you want your lining fabric to line up with the edge of your fabrics here. Okay, so I'll just pop that. I like the pin at this edge before we start. So then we're going under the needle again, and I'll just take that pin out. I'll take the pin out the other end because, as I say, I like to see that that is nicely lined up. So let's just stitch across here. If you like to use a zipper foot, by all means put your zipper foot on. I'm lucky with this machine that the foot is quite narrow and it's just as good as the zipper foot. Okay. So I'm going to do the same again, which is take that lining from underneath, pull that out, and then fold the outer piece back. And I'm looking for the fact that all of these curved edges actually line up. And that way we know that we've got all the fabric being pulled from... Oh, it didn't stitch there. Why didn't it stitch there? Oh, it folded back, that's why. Right, let's just do this little bit again. That's better. So it must have just flipped over. So we just rectify that. So we've got the lining on the bottom and we want the outer fabric on the top. Okay, so that's got that pulled back nicely. And then I'm going to top stitch along here again. So just to the other side of the zip. And it looks quite pretty, doesn't it? Really looks quite nice just as it is. And then I'm going just to the end of the tab. Okay, so there we have. You'll see a picture in the instructions just like that. Okay, that's fine. Hello, Christine, no worries. Right, let's turn that little bit away. Now, at this point, I think I did put it in emboldened letters. Oh, I've got one zip going one way, one the other, but never mind, doesn't matter. Make sure your top zip is open. Don't want any disasters there. That top zip must be open. Now we are going to put our right sides of the outer fabric together. Okay, like that. And then the lining pieces go together as well. Now the most important part is at the top here. We've got the zip in the middle and we just want those where the seams are just to line up. So I'm going to line those up, hoping it doesn't come undone. Now this is why we didn't top stitch to the very end. So that lines up nicely there. And I'm going to put a pin into that side. Whoops. So let's put a pin there where that lines up. And then we'll do exactly the same on this side. You can push the tab whichever way you like. And then I'm just lining that side up as well, so that seam comes on top of each other. Okay. Sorry, I'm flipping this about a little bit so I can get the pin in there. Now we're also going to leave a gap in the bottom, so make sure those align nicely, and might need another pin just here. So let's leave ourselves a decent gap. That's it. Sort of 3 to 4 inches here for turning. So all I'm going to do now is make sure these pieces line up, and I'm going to stitch from a pin all the way around to the other side pin. So I will start off with a reverse stitch. So just reverse, just so that holds that nicely, and then just pull those curved pieces out so that they line up. And again, I'm just doing my 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now when we come to where this top piece is, try not to go too far in. Make sure you're doing a 1/4 inch, otherwise you'll catch in your tabs. But if you're doing a 1/4 inch seam allowance, you will be absolutely fine. So I'm just going around that curve, making sure these other edges all match up as well. So around we go. And around here. I'm coming up to the top here. So let's just make sure that, so that's pulled over just a little bit. So you come across here, make sure you're on your 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then onto your lining fabric. Keep those curves lining up here, and around we go until I get to the other pin, and I'll just reverse. Now, just to make it easier for turning, what we can do is roll that back. If you've got your little iron there, all well and good, and you can just press that there, and then just flip that over, and we can do exactly the same the other side. So I'm just using my nails here, short as they may be. That's it. So I'm just rolling it over just to meet. So that's just going to help when we turn it through. So in we go, and we can go through the zip opening there, and pull that through. There we go. Here is the revealing moment. So you can either just take it through the gap first of all, and then through, there we go, and then through the zip opening. You could close your gap now, but there might come a point when actually, you know, you'd say the bobbins run out, so you've got a gap in the outer fabric, and you really don't want to have stitched your bottom, stitch the lining, if there's something that needs to be checked and a bit more stitching done. So can you see how by having that little gap we've got a nice tab on the zip? So that looks absolutely fine to me. So now that I know that all of my outer edges are fine, I'm going to pull that lining out and just stitch across this bottom edge. So let's just pull that out, And because I just press those, that opening, the gap, that lines up really, really nicely without too much of an issue. So let's just put those threads in there. You could trim them off or just pop them in. And then we're just going to stitch across here. So under the needle, and I start just before the opening, and then it gives that a little bit more security. It's just securely stitched. And I'll reverse at the beginning as well, and I'll just go close to the edge, and that way I know that both layers are secure. There we are, a little reverse at the end as well. So let's just give that a little trim. And nothing much there, or a tiny little bit. Okay, and then the usual, pull it apart, give it a pull, make sure there's no hole there, and then tuck it back into your pouch. Okay, so I'm just pushing my fingers in there, and you can push that around, give that a nice curve around the edges, and there is your zipped pouch, your double zipped pouch. Okay, yes, there we go, let's pop that there. Now I've lost my, I'm going to take this off and put it the other way around. So I look a little bit as though I've been pulled through a hedge backwards, but hey ho. I'm just going to take that off carefully, and so we can see that one. I am going to, where's that gone? To turn it, oh there it is. Okay, so here I am. I'm going to pop this back on the stand here. And hopefully not do anything to, that's it. A little bit low. I can't remember where I've put the usual one I have. Gosh, that looks a bit big, doesn't it? Oh. Anyhow, we've done that really well. Really was quite quick, wasn't it? Now, still can't see comments. I thought perhaps we'd have comments by now. So here's number 1. Here's number 2. And here's number 3. Now let me just see. I'm going to pull this over here so that I can see what everybody's saying. Yeah, I thought, that was really nice and subtle pastel. And then this is a bit of stuff, actually. I've called this one Splash. And I thought I need something a bit brighter. So that's what I liked. So really lovely fabric there. Then the other 3, we have strawberry. We have floral, which is, the floral one is like, as I say, Country Diary, I think. And tea time. So it will be, the fabric you'll use will be that way up, so it works perfectly. They look quite similar, but as I say, you will be using it in that orientation, so it works. I do have to think about these things. Strawberries are always good. And where's my 1, 2? Oh, that's right. Well, no. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I had 6, didn't I? Once. So we've got the. Oh, there's the floral one. Where's that gone then? Dum-de-dum-de-dum. The Country Diary. Dropped it on the floor. There it is. I knew I'd got one more. So there is Country Diary like. This one is just called Floral. Really, really pretty. That one is called Strawberries. They're quite little. I would say a pound coin would sit over some of those strawberries. So you can see they're nice and small. And then the tea time one, I call it tea time. Really, really quite pretty. Oh, hello, Pollyann, don't worry. And yes, the one I did tonight, lovely. Lovely. This is from their retro. I think I had 3 or 4 fabrics from that range, but I love these. Love these. That one, as I say, is the original. I've called that watercolour. Just nice floral. Make a lovely summer evening purse, wouldn't it? And then this one, who loves a bit of purple? Purple, turquoise and jade. Absolutely lovely. Okay. So, as I'd said, would it be easy to add belt loops to the back? Absolutely, Julia. Everybody comes up with such amazing ideas. So, absolutely, yes. As Juliet says, so what I would do, get to the stage, you know, right at the end, where we had the top zip attached. So we'd got the outer fabric and the lining fabric underneath. You could actually attach some loops, a couple of loops, like your jeans. You could attach them on the top there, slide a belt through it. Wouldn't that be fabulous? Why do I not think of these ideas? I mean, that is really, really good. And you could attach a wristlet as well. So when you're stitching the sides up, so that very last piece, pop yourself a wristlet in there, or a little tab with a D-ring on it, and then you could attach it to it and have it with one or without. Absolutely fantastic. Great ideas. Just, you are super, all of you. I think over the time, the number of people that have said a year ago, 2 years ago, I would never have attempted this, but it's because you've listened to the little tips along the way, and any hints there are, and then you've got all this vast knowledge to be able to give yourselves a choice of which way you do things. And the number of you that take my patterns and adapt them, that add your style to it, really, really good. Any brains at work make genius. Aha! Yes. So, now what I need to do is go and put the code in the group so that you know. It will be something very, very fitting. This is a double zipped pouch. And so usually I give you a word along the way that goes along with it. Many brains. Aha. Okay. So I look forward to seeing, because I look forward to seeing your makes in all of your fabrics, because it doesn't take too much fabric. Let's say I put the little kits together because I know some of you love a kit, and the cutting instructions are very easy. What you will notice though in the PDF, where it's got 2 pieces that are, or I might have put it, I can't remember. No, I think I put 2 pieces, but you will need 3 that are this size because 1 needed to go along there. But you only needed lining for 2 of them. You didn't need lining for this piece up here. Yes, we guessed. You could, Gita, absolutely. Yeah, you could put a tab at each side and put yourself a strap on there as well. So, absolutely perfect, perfect. Okay, right, I'm going to leave you now. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I think I can tell by your reactions that you have enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing what you make. As I say, because it was a little bit different, I can't put my hand in there. It is done properly, and sometimes it's hard to think how you're going to get a little pocket with a zip there and it not, because once before I have the pocket had got a hole in the bottom, so it didn't work. Yes, I would love a kit. Ooh. Okay, well, they are on the website. Please don't buy yet. Wait till you go into the group and see the discount code. And for you, it will come down to £11 with free postage. Oh, my goodness. Never mind. So thank you for joining me. I look forward to seeing you at the end of the week. I don't know whether I'll do a Thursday or not. Depends how things go. Because we've got the sew along and I've still got to finish off those other pouches so they're completely filled. Anybody who hasn't signed up, the kits have now gone out, but you could still do the workshop only. And remember, there's a discount code for that. So all of the discount codes can only be used individually. There's no postage, so you will need to do separate orders for if you were doing the workshop for the sew along, and if you wanted a kit here, because there's a discount code, you'll need to do it separately. There's no postage, so it won't make any difference at all. So I'm going to love you and leave you. Did you see the love me? I did. It was amazing. All those hearts going up. Absolutely fantastic. So enjoy the rest of your evening and tomorrow, because I shall be doing something tomorrow, which takes a little bit of work to do as well, as some of you know. And then, as I say, I shall be back on Friday, definitely, and I'll see what I can do on Thursday as well. See how time goes. So take care of yourselves. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.